In this guide, you'll learn the 10 toiletries most likely to get your bag flagged at airport security, understand exactly why they trigger this extra screening, and learn how to pack to avoid delays, TSA confiscations, or losing your expensive products. Let's start with number 1, gel-based moisturizers, serums, and cleansing balms. Although many cleansing balms and thick creams feel completely solid to the touch when they're in the jar, TSA rules classify all liquids, aerosols, gels, creams, and pastes under the same strict restriction. That last word, pastes, is where the confusion begins. The simple test is this. If a product can be scooped, spread, or pressed into with a finger, it is not considered a true solid. Many travelers make the mistake of assuming that because a balm doesn't pour, it qualifies as a solid item, exempt from the 311 rule. But at the checkpoint, an agent can simply press a gloved finger gently on the surface. If it leaves an indent, it confirms the product is a gel or paste and must follow the liquids rule. This same logic applies to other popular products like thick, jelly-textured moisturizers, heavy gel-based serums, and even some creamy hairstyling putties. Even if their consistency feels firm at room temperature, the classification is based on their potential texture and behavior, not how they sit in the jar. If the container holding that product is larger than 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters, it will not be allowed through the security checkpoint. The entire jar will be confiscated, regardless of how much is inside. To avoid this frustrating and often expensive issue, transfer any of these gel or paste-like products into properly labeled, travel-size containers that are 3.4 ounces or less. For an even safer bet, consider switching to truly solid skincare alternatives, like cleansing sticks, solid serum bars, or moisturizer sticks, which are specifically designed for travel and are completely exempt from these rules. Number 2, the almost empty oversized bottle. Inside a carry-on bag, an 8-ounce shampoo bottle with just a tiny bit of product left at the bottom rolls slightly as it moves through the scanner. To the traveler, it's obviously less than an ounce of liquid. To the TSA, it's a violation. Travelers frequently and logically believe that if a bottle is nearly empty, containing far less than the 3.4-ounce limit, it will pass inspection. However, this is one of the most common and critical packing errors. TSA rules apply strictly and without exception to the size printed on the container, not the volume of liquid currently inside it. On the CT scanner's monitor, the machine reads the container's overall shape and volume capacity. An 8-ounce bottle is flagged as an 8-ounce bottle, even if it only holds a single ounce of shampoo. At inspection tables in every airport, every day, agents hear the familiar plea, but it's almost empty. Unfortunately, the response is always the same as the item is dropped into the confiscation bin. The rule does not make exceptions as it is designed for speed and consistency. The solution here is non-negotiable. To prevent this, you must decant every single liquid, cream, and gel into travel-sized bottles that are clearly marked as 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters, or less. The printed capacity on the bottle itself is what matters most. A simple set of reusable, compliant travel bottles will save you from ever having to surrender your products again. Now number 3, travel-size aerosol sprays that exceed limits. For carry-on luggage, all aerosols fall under the same 311 rule as other liquids. The container itself must not exceed 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. The problem is that many companies market smaller, more convenient cans as travel-friendly or travel size, leading customers to assume they are TSA compliant. At the security checkpoint, these oversized aerosol cans are a frequent cause for secondary screening. A traveler is often shocked when their bag is pulled aside for a can of hairspray they bought specifically from the travel aisle. The agents, however, only look at the volume printed on the can itself. The rules for checked luggage are different and more generous. You are allowed to pack larger, personal care aerosols in your checked bags. However, there are still limits. Generally, each individual container must not exceed 17 to 18 fluid ounces, and the total amount for all your aerosol products cannot exceed 68 to 70 fluid ounces per person. Additionally, the cans must have a cap or other protective measure to prevent them from accidentally spraying inside your suitcase during transit. To avoid any surprises at the checkpoint, you must become a careful label reader. Ignore the marketing claims on the front of the product and turn the can over to find the actual measurement printed on the back. If it's over 3.4 O's 100 ml, it must go in your checked bag. The safest and most stress-free option is often to switch to non-aerosol alternatives like powder-dry shampoos or pump spray hair products. Number 4, large powder containers. While most powders are generally allowed, any powder-like substance in a container larger than 12 ounces, which is roughly the size of a standard soda can, requires separate screening. This doesn't mean it will be automatically confiscated, but it does guarantee a delay. The reason is that dense organic materials, like a large amount of powder, can obstruct the scanner's view of other items in the bag or, in some cases, can resemble materials used in explosives. This uncertainty frequently triggers a mandatory manual bag search, during which an agent will likely need to take the container out and test the powder using an explosive trace detection swab. If the agent cannot easily identify the substance, it may be prohibited from continuing onto the plane. Travelers who choose to carry large tubs of protein mix, ground coffee, or even cosmetic powders in their carry-on can expect an extra 10 to 15 minutes added to their security screening time. The solution is straightforward. If you need to travel with a large quantity of any powder, the safest and easiest approach is to pack the main container in your checked luggage, where there are no size limits. If you must have some with you in the cabin, transfer a smaller amount into a container that is clearly under the 12-ounce threshold, or be prepared for the inevitable extra screening time. We are halfway through our list. If these examples are already making you rethink how you pack your carry-on, take a quick moment to subscribe to the channel. Staying informed with expert advice before you travel is the easiest and most effective way to avoid airport delays and the frustration of having your items confiscated. Number 5. Soft solid or gel deodorant. To be perfectly clear, a true hard-stick deodorant is considered a solid item and is allowed in your carry-on in any size. The problem arises with the softer gel-style sticks or soft solid varieties, which have a creamier texture. A TSA agent could potentially interpret these as a paste or gel, making them subject to the 311 rule if they are over 3.4 ounces. More commonly, however, the issue comes from the new CT scanners themselves. A dense, brand new deodorant stick, even a hard one, can get flagged by the scanner simply because its composition is too uniform for the machine to immediately distinguish. It shows up as a dense organic block that requires a human agent to resolve with a visual inspection. While this will almost always be cleared after a quick look, it still means your bag gets pulled from the belt, causing an unnecessary delay while you wait for the manual search. The best way to minimize this inconvenience is to choose a firm, hard-stick deodorant formula over the softer gel or cream-based sticks. Additionally, placing it in an easily accessible part of your bag can speed things up. If your bag is flagged, you can quickly point out the item, which often resolves the issue in seconds. Number 6. High alcohol content liquids. Any liquid, including perfumes and toiletries that contains more than 70% alcohol by volume, which is equivalent to 140 proof, is classified as a hazardous material by the FAA and is strictly prohibited from air travel in both carry-on and checked luggage. While most common drugstore toiletries are formulated to stay well below this limit, some specialty products can easily cross the threshold. This includes certain high-proof perfume extracts, some artisanal colognes, strong rubbing alcohols, and even some medicinal tinctures. Travelers are often surprised when such an item is taken away, especially when it's in a tiny 1-ounce bottle. But once an agent sees that a liquid is over the flammability limit, it must be surrendered for safety reasons. The concentration of alcohol alone makes it ineligible to fly. The only solution is to become a detective before you pack. Carefully check the product label for the alcohol by volume, or ABV percentage. If it is over 70%, you must leave it at home. When in doubt, it is always best to travel with mainstream products that are specifically formulated to comply with these important global safety standards. Number 7. Spreadable foods. The reason is the TSA's simple but firm spreadable rule. The official guidance is, if you can spray it, spread it, squeeze it, or pump it, it is treated exactly like a liquid and must follow the 311 regulations. This means that peanut butter, hummus, yogurt, cream cheese, jams, and other similar products are all considered liquids in the eyes of the TSA. A full-size container of any of these items that exceeds 3.4 ounces is not allowed in your carry-on luggage. The scene of a traveler arguing that peanut butter is a solid food plays out at security checkpoints countless times every day. The fix is easy once you understand this rule. If you absolutely must bring these food items in your carry-on, treat them just like your shampoo, put them in compliant containers of 3.4 ounces or less and place them inside your single quart-sized liquids bag. Or for a much simpler solution, just pack the full-size jar in your checked baggage. Number 8. Medically necessary liquids that aren't declared. Medically necessary liquids, gels, and aerosols are absolutely permitted in quantities larger than the standard 3.4 ounces. This includes items like insulin, prescription creams, liquid medications, and baby formula or breast milk. However, they are only allowed if you follow the correct procedure. The mistake happens when travelers fail to declare these items. You cannot simply leave a large tube of prescription ointment inside your bag and hope it goes unnoticed. If you do, the scanner will flag an oversized liquid, and the TSA agent will treat it as a violation until you can prove otherwise. The solution is critical and simple. You must declare all medically necessary liquids to a TSA officer before the screening process begins. Take these items out of your carry-on bag and place them in a separate bin for inspection. By declaring them up front, you signal to the officers what they are, allowing for a smooth and respectful screening process that will get you on your way without any issues. Number 9. Cordless butane curling irons. These specific devices are banned entirely from checked luggage due to the significant fire risk posed by the gas cartridge in an unpressurized, unattended cargo hold. Here is where the rule gets tricky. These curling irons may be allowed in your carry-on bag, but only under very strict conditions. You are limited to one such device per passenger, a safety cover must be securely fitted over the heating element, and, this part is non-negotiable, you cannot bring any spare butane or gas cartridges with you. A traveler who packs their expensive butane styler in a checked bag will often arrive at their destination to find a TSA notice inside their suitcase, stating that a hazardous item has been removed and disposed of. This is a costly and entirely avoidable mistake. The safest solution is simply to travel with electric or corded alternatives. However, if you must bring your butane-powered tool, ensure you pack it correctly in your carry-on, confirm the safety cover is on tight, and leave all spare fuel at home. And number 10, duty-free liquids on connecting flights. At an international airport, a traveler on their way home purchases a large 200 ml bottle of perfume, which is sealed by the cashier inside a secure, tamper-evident duty-free bag. They are told it's approved for air travel. The trap appears after they land in the United States for a connecting flight. To get to their next gate, the passenger must claim their checked bags, clear U.S. customs, recheck their bags, and then go through a domestic TSA security checkpoint all over again. At that second checkpoint, the duty-free exemption no longer applies. The perfume is now just a regular liquid in a container far larger than the 3.4-ounce limit. If there isn't enough time to exit the secure area and place the item in their checked bag, the traveler is forced to surrender it. This happens frequently with duty-free alcohol and perfume. While the tamper-evident bag is required, its main purpose is for transiting through international airports. It offers little help when you must exit and re-enter security in the US. The solution requires planning. Before you buy, check your full flight itinerary. If you have a connecting flight that forces you to re-clear security, wait to make your duty-free purchase at your final connecting airport. If you do buy liquids early, be prepared for the possibility that you may need to pack them into your checked bag during your layover. Navigating TSA rules can feel complex, but it all comes down to understanding how your items are viewed by the technology and the officers. Remember the core principles. Container size is what matters, not volume. If it's spreadable, it's a liquid. Always declare your medical items up front, and know the specific rules for tricky items like powders, flammables, and butane tools. A few minutes of careful preparation and thoughtful packing before you leave for the airport will save you a tremendous amount of stress at the checkpoint.